Hi everyone, I'm Saumya, a software engineer and an educator. Welcome to module 1 of the interview series. In this module, I will explain you the important interview questions of Kotlin. Let's start. The very first, what are the various data types available in Kotlin, and we have to explain them. So if you are already from the tech background, you are a software engineer, or you have learned any programming language for that matter, maybe Java, C++, so you will be able to, I think, answer this question very fluently, because the data types available in Kotlin are very much similar to as in any other object-oriented programming language, right? So boolean, character, number, string, and array, these are the main 5 data types in Kotlin. It's very much same as in any other programming language, right? These are the kind of data that we deal with, because in the real world, if you go on creating maybe some real world software or anything for that matter, so these are the 5 types of data that you will get. Either you will get some numbers, you will get characters, you will get a string, that is array of character, right? You will get arrays to deal with, or boolean, that is true or false, right? So when we talk about number specifically, then numbers are also of variety of types, right? Like byte, short, int, long, double, float. These are the kind of category of numbers are divided in these 6 types. If it is there to deal with a large number, some large value, then we have to use these data types for it. If it's a small number, right, if it is integer, then int is there. So these are the kind of data types that are available in Kotlin. And now if we talk about the going deep in Kotlin, how they are and how do we assign variables, all those stuff. So in Kotlin, the type of the variable, like what this one is, this is of type int, this is of type double, this is character, this is boolean, and this one is a string, right? So in Kotlin, the type of the variable is decided by its value. Even if you don't specify that I'm creating a variable of a particular type, then only it will kind of auto understand. Like, let me show you what I mean to say. There are 2 ways of doing this. Like if you are creating, let's say, this variable my num, right? You are creating my num variable. So either you can tell it that, okay, you can tell the compiler that this is of type int, and then maybe give some value 5, 8, or anything, some integer value, right? Or apart from that, you can do this thing as well. If you are unsure, or maybe you want it to auto detect, so if you do my num is equal to let's say 9.85 or something like that, so it will auto understand that this is of type double, right? This is of type double and not of int. If it is only 9, then it will auto understand that this value, this data, is of type integer. So this is very important. In Kotlin, it kind of auto understands at the time of initialization. If you are initializing a variable, if you are giving value to a variable which is true or false, then the type of the data is obviously boolean. If it is a string, like maybe my name, or let's say if we are giving where name is equal to scalar, let's say, right? So here in this case, obviously we know that the data type of this variable name is a string. It's not character, because string are in double quotes always, remember. These small things are kind of good to know, and interviewer may ask you about these small things, like if we are putting something, if we are putting array of character in double quotes or something like that, is it a string or not? These are very fundamental stuff, but you must know this, right? Moving ahead, we talked about this. This is already this is what I covered. Okay, you can do it this way as well. You can tell the type as well while initializing it. Here we were not doing that. Here we were just giving it the value, so it can auto understand as well. If you want, you can do it this way as well. You can tell it that my text is of type string, my letter is of type character, and it is in single quotes. See, this one is in double quotes, right? You are telling my boolean is of type boolean, this is of type double, my num is of type int. You can explicitly declare as well. You can explicitly tell it that, hey variable, you are of type char, boolean, or whatsoever. Perfect. These are some built-in types of numbers data type in Kotlin. Okay, perfect. And moving ahead, this is your question number 2. How are variables declared in Kotlin? What are the different types of variable in Kotlin? So I think you should be able to answer this if you have seen my basic tutorial on Kotlin, or maybe mobile application development as well. So let me tell you, every variable in Kotlin must be declared before it can be used. Obviously, I mean, that's the thumb rule of programming, right? So an attempt to use a variable without declaring it results in syntax error, right? If you are using some variable, let's say you are using num in your project and you haven't declared it, so that might result in syntax error. So the type of data you are authorized to put in the memory address is determined by the variable type declaration. Okay, and the type of variable can be determined from its initialized value. In like case of local variable, as we saw, like we can decide the type of the data based on the value that we are going to give to the data. For example, if let's say I say val marks is equal to 95, so here it's auto understood that the data type of marks is int, right? It is int. So yes, I think you already know how do we declare variables. I told you just now the significance as well of declaring variables in Kotlin. I mean, if you use a variable without declaring, then what will happen? The project will crash, the application will crash, it will not run. It will say that undeclared, or unknown variable, something like that. It will throw error like that. So I'll create a new file in my id and I'll show you what exactly error you will get. Sometimes it happen, like we forget to create to declare the variable and we get error later in the program. So the way to create variable, it's very simple. Var and val, these are the two keywords that we use to create variables in Kotlin. So this is var and this is val. What is the difference? It's important to know. It's very important to know, I would say. So the syntax is pretty much similar for both of these. So we have to first write the keyword. Okay, we will write var, or if it is val, then val, and after that the name of the variable. Okay, we will write here var name, that is name of the variable. Okay, it can be anything, like it can be marks, student name, or college, anything for that matter. And here as well we will have var name. So this is a keyword, okay, but these are the ones that are here. These are on us. We have to give some value, right? I mean, we have to think of some meaningful name. Okay, after that what you have to do? You have to do is equal to, and you can give it any name. Okay, you can give a name in double quotes. Okay, so this will be of type string because we are giving it a value which is of type string, which is because it is under double quotes. Okay, so syntax pretty much simple. Keyword var or val, and then name of the variable is equal to, and then whatever value you want to give to it. The syntax is very clean and neat. No confusion till now, right? No confusion till now. And one more interesting thing here is that the difference is important to know. I mean, in interview you might be like they start with the fundamental, very easy questions, right? That's why in this one I'm talking about very easy ones. So what's the difference between var and val? So var, if we are creating a variable, if I am creating a variable using this keyword, using var keyword, Then if later on in the project, if later on in the program I want to change the value, like let's say right now the value is a, but later on I want to say var name is equal to b, so I can do that. Okay, but in case of val, if the value right now is x and later on if I want to do y, if I want to give var name the value y, then in that case this will throw an error. Why? Because val is immutable. Val is immutable. Always remember this. Always remember this. Var is mutable. This is the biggest difference between both of this. Remember today onwards, like keep it in your mind. Val is like final keyword in Java. You can't change once you give it some value. If there are some stuff, if there are data that you feel like you will need to change later in the program, in the project, then don't declare it with the val keyword, otherwise it will become permanent. Val is permanent, it cannot be changed. Okay, so yes, the main difference is this only, val and var. Okay, mutable and immutable, it can't be changed. Val cannot be changed. So now what is the difference between the variable declaration with val and const? Now this is interesting. I just told you that val is immutable. If we if we don't if we have some data which we don't want to change its value, if there are some data like that, then we will use val keyword, like val name is equal to abc. Okay, all right, then I cannot change name to xyz or something else in the future in the project. And const as well, the name is somewhere self-explanatory. Const means something which is constant, which cannot be changed. So this is also kind of looks like it is also immutable, right? But they are asking, the interviewer is asking you the difference between val and const, then what you will say. So let me tell you, both the variables that are declared with val and const are immutable in nature. They are both immutable in nature, but the value of the const variable, the value of the const variable must be known at the compile time, must be known at the compile time, whereas the value of the val variable can be assigned at runtime also, This is the biggest difference between both of these. Like for const, it is must that the value of the variable must be known at the compile time, value must be known at the compile time. Okay, but in case of val, even if you give it value at the runtime, then also is fine. Okay, then also it will work smooth. So yes, that's the basic difference between mutable and like both of these are immutable only. Mutable is var, like if we declare something using var, its value can be changed. But val and const, both of these, let me summarize it all here. So var is completely different, right? It is mutable. If you declare something using var, it can be changed. If we talk about val and const, so these are immutable. Value cannot be changed, yeah. But the difference between both of these is the value of the const variable must be known, must be declared at the compile time. But in case of val, it can be done during runtime as well. Runtime is also fine, right? Perfect. Now, very interesting question. Why should we use Kotlin? So Kotlin is a programming language that is compatible with Java and other languages as well. One of its primary feature is is productive programming. It provides many ways to reuse code. It provides many ways to reuse code between multiple platforms. Its clean language design and powerful features offer an accessible user experience, UI UX. Okay, it offers an amazing UI UX. So it is concise. Okay, it is concise. It is null safe. Like in Java, if you have been working in Java, you would be knowing this thing very well, that in Java we used to suffer a lot with the null safety exceptions, with the errors that we used to get because some value is null, right? So that issue is gone here in Kotlin. It is very concise, sweet, and interpretable as well. So how to ensure null safety in Kotlin? Another very interesting concept. I mean, this is one of the biggest advantages, one of the biggest features of Kotlin. Okay, so if we talk about null safety, yeah, null safety, one of the major advantage of using Kotlin is null safety only. In Java, if you access some null variable, then you will get a null pointer exception. Your application, your project will crash, right? So the following, like, I'll show you. I'll write some piece of code here. So the following code that I'm going to write here, it will like give you an idea how do we manage null safety, how do we manage null exceptions in Kotlin. So if I write something like var, okay, name is equal to scalar, okay, and later on I give it value, I change the value of name to null, and if I do print ln, that is print something, I want to know the length of name dot length is inbuilt method, right? So name dot length, I want to know the length of the string name. Okay, so here it will show error right now because I have given it value null. But in Kotlin there is a beautiful way to prevent from such null errors. Normally, if let's say we are following the old methodologies, old techniques, then obviously this piece of code would have thrown error. Okay, but in case like let's say I am doing something like this, like here we have dot, okay, I mean name dot length right now. If I put question mark here, if I tell it that first check if the value is like null or not null, if the value is null, it will take care of it. It will not lead to crashing of the application. It is question marking it if name is null or not. If it's null, obviously it will not run the method on it because it's null, so length will obviously be 0, right? So that's very interesting thing. You can use the question mark, it's null safety operator, null question mark dot, and then you can call anything you want to call. And if let's say you were doing something like var name, this is of type string, and let's say if I'm writing my name here, so here as well, like when you are giving it the type, the data type, you are telling it that you're of type string. So here as well you can put this question mark. Okay, this is null safety. It will help us only, us means developers only, right? It will prevent unnecessary application crashes. Okay, so what are data classes in Kotlin? We have to explain with proper examples. Okay, so let's do it. So data class, let me tell you, data classes, the name is self-explanatory. These are those classes which are made to store some data. These are there to store some data. So in Kotlin it is marked as like data like we generally create classes like this, class keyword, okay, name of the class, let's say developer is the name of the class, then some parameters like maybe val name of type string, then maybe val age of type int, right? So this is, I mean, let me erase this one. And here, so let's say if this is our class, and then we have the body of the class, and if we want to make it data class, okay, data class means obviously the class which is there to just store some data, nothing unnecessary, okay. Then we will put a new keyword here, that is data keyword, okay. Data, and then the normal way of creating the class, normally we create class this way, right? We have class keyword, name of the class, and then in parenthesis we put the parameters of the class. So apart from that, let me tell you one more interesting thing. So when we mark a class as data class, okay, let me write this with pencil. So when we mark a class data class, so you don't have to implement or create the functions like we used to do in Java, like equals or toString, copy. I mean, you can tell this if the interviewer asks you this question, like what are the data classes in Kotlin. The first thing you are going to tell is the data classes are those classes which are there to store some data, and we use the keyword data before the usual like methodology of creating the class, like class name here and then parenthesis. So before this we put the keyword data. And apart from that, data classes are those in which you don't have to implement or create the functions like we used to do in Java, equals, toString, copy, etc. The compiler automatically creates these internally, and that's how it leads to clean space, less piece of code, less lines of code, and a beautiful experience of developing the application, of writing code in Kotlin. Okay, and that's how like developers are so much liking Kotlin these days instead of Java. Like Java is obviously, I would say, irreplaceable, but again, I mean, Kotlin is very crisp, simple, and it supports it both of these languages can work together in the same project as well. That's the beauty of it, right? What is Lateinit in Kotlin? So here the keyword Lateinit, it is a bit self-explanatory, I would say. If you see, it is made up of two keywords, and this one is very important. This keyword is important, and it is one of the favorites interview questions of interviewer. So late means late, something which is late, which is done later on, right? Which is done later on. Init means initialization. So let's say if I am creating a variable, but in the starting I don't know its value, so I'm telling the variable Lateinit that I will initialize you later on. I will give you a value for sure, but I will give you later on, not right now, because I'm not sure about your value. That is kind of meaning of Lateinit keyword. Let me go into the system and show you. So this is the ID, okay, and here let's say if I want to create a variable about which I'm not sure, I mean, what value should I give to that variable, but I want to use it later, and I want to give it some value later in the project when I will be sure. Okay, so for example, I'm creating here name. It is of type string, but now I don't know what the name is, okay, and I don't want to give empty value or something like that. So for that matter, in such situations, we can, here it is throwing error as well. It is telling that property must be initialized. I mean, you have to initialize, you have to give it some value. Then I will persuade the IDE, I will tell the IDE, hey, please let me go it this way. I want to give some value to name later in my project, later. Okay, so I'll do Lateinit, and now it's gone. So basically by Lateinit, I'm telling the ID, I'm telling it that hey, like I will give some value to this variable name, which is of type string, but later on in the project. Okay, I can't do it right now because I'm not sure of the value. So maybe here inside the onCreate method might be that you will be getting the value of the name variable once you enter into this, scope in this on create method, right? So you can write here, maybe you can give some value yourself, or if you are fetching value somewhere from this overrided function. So override is keyword, fun is keyword, on create is the name of the function. Then inside this, what is this? This is this is a parameter of type bundle. This is name of the parameter. I can name it A as well. Okay, A, B, C, anything. So this is parameter name, and the type of the parameter is bundle. And as you can see, while they are giving the type, the data type to this variable, they have used this null safety thingy, which I taught you just now, like few minutes ago. So that's pretty much it. I hope like things are becoming clearer to you. Now let's go back into the iPad, and I will discuss a few more basic yet very important interview questions with you. So I hope Lateinit is clear. If it is, just keep telling me things in the comment section. Tell me if Lateinit keyword, it is very important, because if you are going to give interview where your role is a bit related to Kotlin, maybe Android developer, like if you're going to join as software engineer in the Android team of an organization, you must know these basic stuff. These are very important. Okay, so what is Elvis operator in Kotlin? So let me tell you, like in Kotlin, you know that you can like assign null values as well to a variable by using the null safety feature. Okay, null safety property, to check if the value is, let's say, having null value or not. You can either use if else. If the value is null, do this, otherwise do that. Or you can use Elvis operator, which is like this. This is the Elvis operator. Let me explain you with the help of some graphics. I mean, that is better to remember things for a longer period of time. This is the icon, this is kind of symbol of Elvis operator. I mean, if the interviewer asks you this, obviously you have to tell this is how the Elvis operator looks like, and you would have used it. You would have seen this in other programming languages as well. I guess it is in C++ as well. So this is the Elvis operator in action. So val is keyword here, result is the name of the variable, is equal to value 1 or value 2. So if value 1 is not null, if value 1 is not null, then result is assigned its value. Okay, result variable. If the value 1 is null, then it is assigned value 2's value. So it is here basically checking. It is checking here if value 1 is null, then it will assign this value to result. If it is not null, then this value only will be assigned. Okay, so that's how the Elvis operator looks like, and that's how it's used in programming. This is the syntax. You have seen it in action as well, right? Perfect. And moving ahead, explain the various methods to iterate over any data structure in Kotlin with example. So the answer to this is very much similar to any other programming language. Don't go ahead, just pause the video right now, pause the tutorial right now, and tell me in the comments what are the different methods you use to iterate over any data structure. Let's say I have given you an array of integers. Okay, you have 5, 7, 10, 12. You have to iterate on this array of integers. How will you go about it? If you know C++, you know Java, Python, any language for that matter, you would have used at least one or the other way, right? I think most of you would be thinking about for loop, right? For loop. So I mean, the similar way is there in Kotlin as well. You have for, while, or do while in Kotlin. So the syntax for loop looks something like this. If let's say you have the language, language array, which is array of some strings, you can see array of Ruby, Kotlin, Python, Java. So here this is language which is array of strings. Then you are checking for each item in the language array. You have to print each item, print an item. So it will print Ruby, Kotlin, Python and Java, right? So for item in this language array, you have to print each and every element of the array. Okay, perfect. And if you talk about while and do while, so syntax is very much like in other programming languages. So while this condition is true, you can put some condition here. Keep on executing the body of while. This is the syntax, simple and straightforward syntax of while loop. So for while you have to put condition, here. Okay, very simple. I mean, while keyword, if the condition is true here, then keep on iterating on the body of the while. And in the same way, if we talk about do while, so for do while as well, keep doing this, do the do while body, keep iterating, keep executing whatever is written inside the do while body while till this condition here is true. While this condition is true, you have to keep iterating over this. All these statements from here till the end, whatever is written here, all these statements you have to keep running, keep iterating while this condition holds true. If it is true, then keep iterating. And in this case, we have the condition check in the beginning only. We check if it is true or not in the starting. If the condition is true, then only we enter the body of the while loop. So let me know, I mean, if you want me to explain, or if you want me to create some simple some simple projects using the concept of maybe these methods to iterate, or any of these concepts, like if you want me to iterate more on either of these, like Elvis, Lateinit, or data classes in Kotlin, all of these are very important. Null safety you must know. And why Kotlin? I mean, I think this is one of the most favorite questions of interviewers out there. If you are using Kotlin, they will ask you why not other programming languages which are there in the market. So you must know what to answer. You can share your personalized experience while developing projects using Kotlin. You can share how simple, easy it is, crisp, short. If you have some piece of code in Java which is in 10 lines, you can do the same thing in 4 to 5 lines in Kotlin. So it is concise and all those stuff you can share. And these are very basic things, where the difference between const and all those stuff, and the keywords that I talked about are very important for Kotlin. So yes, if you have doubts or queries, put them down in the comments, and I'll try to look at most of them. I'll try to give answer to most of them. And I hope this detailed module was helpful for you. If yes, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to Scalar's YouTube channel for more such insightful content.